Defense Secretary Jim Mattis heads to the southern border today to meet with some of the 7,000 troops stationed there. With the future of a border wall in jeopardy as Republicans become the House minority, should President Trump take a hardline stance and demand funding? Here to weigh in is resident fellow in law and policy at the Center for Immigration Studies, Andrew Arthur. Andrew, thanks for coming on this morning. With a problem like this where we see something like 50,000 border apprehensions every single month, Democrats say this is just political. What do you say?
I would disagree with that. I mean, sending troops to the border absolutely necessary because they provide logistical support. We only have 16,000 Border Patrol agents patrolling about 1,900 to 1,990 miles of border. So, you know, all the jobs that they don't have to do frees them up to actually do the job of law enforcement that only they can do. So I actually support it wholeheartedly.
Well, let's take a look at some numbers here. Border apprehensions from Border Patrol report in 2018 and 2017. And you can see there's been a distinct increase there in 2018 with nearly 400,000 border apprehensions. Do you think that the president ends up getting the border wall?
I think that the president ends up getting the border wall for a variety of reasons. In the last Congress, Judge William Alsup, Judge Garofis, some other federal judges actually blocked the end of DACA. DACA is going to go to the Supreme Court. The Ninth Circuit has just ruled in United States versus Regents that DACA should continue, and so it's now teed up to go to the Supreme Court. And once the Supreme Court rules, and I think that they're going to rule against the regents of the University of California, and they're going to say that DACA should end or should be allowed to end.
But what about funding it, though? I mean, as far as a congressional battle, losing the House at this point, I mean, how do you get Democrats to give you $20 billion for this wall when they hate it so much?
Well, that's actually the point, is that, you know, there's now something that the Democrats want. They want status for those DACA individuals, and they're going to have to trade something to get that, and that's going to be funding for the wall.
But that deal already fell apart, though. That Schumer-Trump deal fell apart, what, about a year ago now? They tried it once,
That's true, but at that time, the Democrats were actually protected by those court orders. DACA wasn't going away. DACA is now probably going to go away. And so the Democrats are in a position where they're going to have about 300 and some odd thousand, I'm sorry, about 700,000 people who are going to be in a position where they're going to need some sort of status. And the Democrats are probably going to be willing to trade some border funding. Now, keep in mind, we don't need a wall along that 1,900-mile border. And I don't think the president wants that either. But Mexico is the biggest producer of heroin, the biggest producer of methamphetamine to the United States. And those drugs are coming over the border, in addition to perhaps 600,000 people this year. So, I mean, this is a situation where we need to have some sort of barriers in order to block the smugglers and the cartels that make so much money off of human misery and, you know, selling this poison on our streets.
Your thoughts real quick on Democrats wanting to abolish ICE. We heard that message loud and clear for a while, and now we're not really hearing so much about it these days, are we?
No, we're not, because it turned out that it was a horrible political message for them to send. In suburban counties where many of these undecided voters live, this is a horrible idea. I mean, and quite frankly, it doesn't really make any sense, because if you abolish ICE, you're just going to have to replace it with something else, and that something else is just going to carry out the same mission that ICE does. So it's bad politics, and it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. Andrew Arthur, thank you so much for your time this morning. Make some good points. Appreciate it.